Hey, how's it going? So recently I built a LCT AK74-U on my channel here. I put like a gate tighten in there. I tried to shim the gearbox myself. It was the first time that I had actually done any sort of tech work on an AEG. I kind of had no idea what I was doing. So I thought it might be interesting to get an actual Airsoft tech to take a look at it and see what I had done and if I screwed anything up. But not just any tech. I was able to bring it to Zimming from Black Blitz Airsoft, who is one of the best, if not the best, Airsoft tech in Canada. So after a short 3.5-hour drive through a snowstorm, I was at Black Blitz Airsoft, where I got to spend a day with Zimming and kind of see all the work that they do on airsoft guns and upgrades and stuff. It was very interesting. So the first thing that Zimming did was disassemble the gun and kind of take a look at some of the work that I had done.
And one trick here that not many people know is you actually take off the grip first.
Oh, okay.
Because the grip pulls the gearbox down, and that kind of provides tension for the selector. So once you remove that, ooh, you got some funny wiring going here.
Oh.
But yeah, I'll show you how to route these later. But once you remove the grip, it's so much easier to remove this thing.
Yeah.
Play don't slip, but you grab it tightly enough, you don't slip.
Oh.
You don't actually need to use the teeth. The only time this stuff gets scratched is if like you don't grip it tightly enough.
Yeah.
So the way that wires are supposed to be routed, they're supposed to go up to the top like this.
Yeah.
Sort of go through this channel, but there are too many wires here because you get the front wired version.
Mm-hmm.
And then the wires actually go down the side of the receiver behind this thing.
Oh.
And then see that's supposed to be a wiring channel, but it's not wide enough for the wires that we use now. Those are for like really thin Tokamori era wiring.
Okay.
But yeah, when we put it back together, we'll route it that way.
All right.
And then generally before you open the gearbox, you see the nozzles back, right?
Yeah.
It's generally a good idea to take a pair of small needle nose pliers and then pull the intraversal latch.
Oh, okay.
So that that part won't fly off.
Yeah.
It looks like things are in working order. Doesn't look like anything's too messed up. The nozzle feels like it might not seal very well though. Oh boy. Yeah, it is definitely an air seal issue, so we'll get that sorted out. And I can't test the nozzle seal until we get that sorted out. But it looks like things are okay for the most part. Doesn't look like you really screwed anything up. The wiring was a little iffy, but you know, that's a simple fix. Doesn't look like the shim. If you use this gun, it doesn't look like the shimming is that bad because it's not like the gears are obviously worn.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been used that much. It's been used in one game, so.
Usually if you mess up shimming, you will see it in one game.
Okay.
Or it'll sound like absolutely terrible. So the gears spin relatively freely. So that's good. You don't have too much play here, that's decent. You got a little bit more play on this one. I would add a few shims there. This one's pretty close as well. I could still space that just a little bit. It's probably hard to see it on camera, but what I do, this is something that is probably hard to see. What I'll do is I'll take my finger and I'll press on a gear, and then I'll take a tool and I'll press from the other side and I'll feel for movement. So right now I feel just a little wee bit of movement. You probably can't even see it, but if you can feel movement, that means that it's not too tight. This one you might be able to see because this one has a little bit more space. I could add a couple more shims here. Yeah, you can definitely see that one. And then the sector gear is pretty good as well. There's a little bit of play that you can sort of see, so I'd still add a few shims there. So at this point, Zimming re-shimmed the gearbox. He said that what I did was okay, but you know, if you got a man like this here, you should get him to re-shim it because he's going to do a far better job than I can do. And to be honest, most other people. So you get this man to do it while you got him here. But that's going to be its own video, so just, hey, make sure you watch that one too. It's gonna be good. Hey, so in order to fix the air seal issue, Zimming replaced the, what is it? I'm going to try to get the cylinder head and the piston. And the nozzle, okay? A few upgrades going here. You'll see here, it's machined, but these are hard angles. They're like 90-degree angles. Whereas on a Lonex piston head, they're beveled.
Oh.
So it prolongs the life of your servos and stuff like that. Alright, so we're going to remove the rack from this piston so we can remove half of this tooth since we're adding a servo and we need to adjust for angle of engagement. So the reason we do that is for angle of engagement, because once you space the piston head further back, it's no longer engaging like this. It engages somewhere around here, and you can see if that tooth were still there, then it would interfere with it would hit on pickup like that.
Okay. Oh, so it's on. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So for example, with it not removed, it would have to engage at this angle. Otherwise, if it tries to engage at the proper angle, it would bounce off of that tooth here and then hit the second tooth instead of the pickup tooth. That's why we remove it, so that there's clearance to pick it up like that. So we've remachined this cylinder head to be nice and smooth with little channels for glue to seat. We're going to clean our bonding surfaces with acetone. Make sure that they'll stick the glue will stick properly. And you spin it around just so that it spreads the glue evenly. And then you just let it set. Alright, we're going to put the cylinder head. And the cylinder... Usually, LCT cylinder heads are fairly tight because of how hard their O-rings are. So what I usually do is I replace the O-rings with softer ones that I ordered. Makes it so that they fit more easily and they still seal very well. So replace the O-rings, and then we apply a little bit of grease to our new steel SHS cylinder. What I tend to do is I tend to use a slightly thicker grease inside the cylinder, and then I use something a little bit lighter over top of it. I find that the heavier grease does a better job of staying in place, while adding a lighter oil over top decreases the friction of that grease. Let's check the air seal. Yeah, we're good. There's no air leak down the cylinder. Now, we're going to use an SHS AK nozzle. But what I tend to do with SHS nozzles is I tend to replace their O-rings. There's nothing wrong with the O-rings that they come with. I just like to replace them with something softer to improve, well, to reduce friction between the nozzle itself and the cylinder head. Yeah, we're good to go. There is no leak here. And that's that. I think everything is lined up, and we can put the gearbox back together. Oh, I did forget one little thing. I just have to add a little bit of lube to the piston rails. A little bit there, a little bit here. There's plenty of grease here, but just want to add a little bit of extra for the piston to slide on. just a reminder, because everyone forgets at this stage, put this on before it's too late. Because usually you notice this once it's already in the receiver and you can't flip it on. And usually by then you're just like, screw it, too lazy. If you're getting a twang sound, it might be because the spring is a little, it's not too short, but at full extension there's very little tension, so that might be causing a bit of a twang sound. Now sometimes running the gate tighten without the gearbox inside the receiver causes issues with the light sensors, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Yeah. We'll try it with a big, beefy 11-1 and see if we cause a gearbox explosion. So, all the way back should be semi. Yeah, the twanging is definitely from the spring.
Okay.
You hear that?
Yeah.
By the way, I don't actually pull the trigger with my middle finger. I'm using my trigger finger to hold the selector plate in place. See, that's what happens when you don't hold the selector in place. Oh, maybe it's just... Oh, the selector became misaligned, that's why. I have to realign that selector. This should be on center now. Oh, there we go. So, yeah, this is a spring that came out of the gun. And this is a normal spring length, so I'm gonna try one of these and see if the twang goes away. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the wire routing is usually up through the back of the grip. And then it comes up the side here. It's just really hard to do when you have a front wired version.
Yeah.
We'll manage.
One of the last things that Zimming did with the gun was install something called RHOP. I absolutely cannot do this. This is... Basically what it is you take high temperature silicone tubing and you cut it to the exact size of the window on the barrel. Then you take a shaved down bucking and put a flat nub in it, and it makes the gun shoot so much better. I am so bad at doing this. So I'm real glad I got Zimming here to do it, because wow. This was impossible for me to do something like this.
Alright, so this is the LCT hop-up unit with the stock LCT barrel. We're going to quickly tear it down and plug an RHOP PDI barrel inside of it. There we go. And we just have to modify the hop-up arm. So when we do RHOPs, we make a nub out of sorbothane. So in order to do that, we have to remove this portion, and then we cut a patch of sorbothane.
So I find corresponding clips of what it did.
Test the width. It's perfect. Now we cut the length. It's probably going to be too thick. We're probably going to need to trim it down. But I always want to test fit it first and see how it goes. Yeah, it's a little thick, so I'm gonna go ahead, remove it, and then give it a quick chop. You want to chop it at an angle because the hop-up arms tend to sit at an angle and not straight down. Looks like we're good to go. Clean the surface with a bit of acetone. Even those Q-tips kind of dirty. Apply just minuscule amount of glue. And press it down. Sweet. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit more. There we go. Now the only thing is once you have it R-hopped, when you put it in, you have to make sure not to crank the hop up on all the way.
Okay.
Because when the hop is cranked on all the way, sometimes people do it during reassembly at this part when they push the hop up unit forward all the way and it like pushes the arm back.
Oh.
It can cause damage to the R-hop.
So after this, Zimming got it reassembled, and we went up to they got like a firing range up top for testing. It's much better than what I have at home. My like hallway. This is some good stuff right here. You can see the R-hop. It has such a consistent flight path. The BBs are like perfectly straight on target with very little. I don't know what the word for it is when deviation or something like that. It just shoots a lot better than, I would say, almost every other airsoft gun I have. I want to say thank you to Black Blitz and Zimming for letting me spend a day here and just kind of getting to observe stuff and learning a ton of stuff. It was super interesting. Like, there's so much stuff that I just wouldn't think of when it comes to working on airsoft guns, and the amount of work that kind of goes into this stuff is, there's way more than you think. When you get someone who actually knows what they're doing working on one and getting to see them work, it's really interesting. Over the next little while, I'm gonna be doing some more stuff with Zimming. There's some cool projects that we're working on, and I can't wait to do more and get more involved with the airsoft world, because this was a really cool experience. And I walked away with a very functional, very, very, very good airsoft gun at this point. I bought this AK74-U as kind of like a buddy gun a few months ago and didn't really plan to do too much with it, and now it probably performs better than the main airsoft gun that I use. Okay, there it is.